Have you ever wondered why some people often go back to an ex? They're all going back to an ex syndrome.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our channel. My name is Cohen, and of course I'm here with my beautiful wife as usual,
Lisa.
And yes, it certainly is a beautiful season outside right now.
It is.
We
It's
did our
beautiful.
first barbecue of the season yesterday with the family. And
So good.
it was so good.
So good.
We had some barbecue chicken and all these good
macaroni
stuff.
pie, mashed potatoes,
Yes.
and you grilled the chicken was like cooked to perfection.
Cooked
It was
to
good,
perfection,
nice and moist,
juicy.
and
But I have to hand it, the seasoning was banging on the chicken. I can't take all the credit.
Thank you.
The seasoning was banging. And of course, our daughter did a phenomenal job
She did.
making that sauce to go in the chicken and on the
good.
burger. So
She does such a good sauce.
Yes,
Honestly, we
yes.
might have to consider like packaging that or
I'm
something
telling
one
you,
day. It's
I'm
always
telling
good.
you.
It's consistent. It's
Yep.
ooh.
it'd be wrong
She's a
for us to
good
take credit and not give her shout out, because
That's
then we
right.
would have to pay for it later on. I don't want to have to be in debt to her for not giving her shout out. So yes, she did a phenomenal job on the sauce. But we're not here to talk about her cooking
Nope. Not
or
today.
brag about how good it was. We are here to discuss the details. Have you ever wondered why some people often go back to an ex? They're all
Yeah.
going back to an ex syndrome.
Yeah.
So you start the relationship all over, but with the same old drama.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. So we are going to be explaining some of those reasons why people go back to ex or the same type of person. That's going back to the ex syndrome.
That's
really,
right.
Right? That's
The
really
ex
what it is,
syndrome.
isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when we talk about the going back to an ex syndrome, understand this. There are two types of ex that we want to clarify to you.
Yeah.
So the one that's really everyone is familiar with, it is pretty much you go back and date the same person all over, that
Yeah.
you've had a relationship and it did not work.
Yes.
All right. But you find yourself going back to the same person. And the second reason it's going to be you find a new person. So new body,
Yes.
same spirit.
Yeah.
Right?
New body,
Same
same
spirit. And that's simply because you are just attracted
yeah.
to the same type of person
Yeah.
that you end up, even if you leave from Canada and you go to the US, you'll find someone that's exactly like your ex.
It's a real cycle.
It's a real cycle.
It's a true cycle.
Yes.
It's a true cycle. It exists going back to the ex syndrome.
So today we're going to be tearing it apart and explaining to you exactly why. But before we do that, we want to remind you to subscribe, and keep hitting those like buttons.
Yes.
Because those like buttons really will help us with the algorithm.
Yeah.
All right, getting our momentum going. And also share the content. If it's helping you, share the content with friends and family so that they too can share and get the knowledge that you're getting for yourself.
I
And
agree. Let's talk about it in the comments.
exactly.
Right?
Secondly, get in the comment, make your
Yeah.
comment, and guess what? If there's something that resonates really well with you, drop us a comment about it.
Let's talk
Even
about
if
it.
you disagree, still comment, because then, hey, from your disagreement, maybe we can learn and maybe we can see a different point of view.
Exactly.
So leave those comments so that you can help us and we can help you to
Yeah,
help
it's like
others.
a win-win
Win-win situation.
right?
So now they're talking about going back to an ex syndrome. So the first point we want to tackle today is some people are just afraid to be alone.
Yeah. That is such a thing.
Yes.
That is a real thing. And I guess when you're single and we're not in it, you might not understand the depth of being afraid to be alone, but
Yes.
it definitely is a real thing, and it can cause you to stay or go back to the familiar.
Exactly.
Right? You go back to the familiar because it's what you
is
know.
familiar. Exactly. Yes.
And it's just easier.
Yeah. The fear of being by yourself. And some people are just outright, they may live alone and
Yeah.
they don't want to be by themselves.
Yeah.
Right? So the fear of being alone whether it's just physically being in an
Yeah.
apartment by yourself. So you know what? You continue with the same person, dealing with the same negative nonsense throughout the course of your journey, and just be contented with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's one reason why some people really go back, the fear of being alone. But understand, it's okay to be by yourself at times in the
Yeah.
darkness, and just know that, hey, from the darkness, you spend that time, you get those moments by yourself to
Exactly.
really resolve you.
Yeah. And you get to learn you get to love you, so that by the time somebody that's familiar comes in, you can start to actually recognize those things sooner. You can start to
Exactly.
recognize, oh yeah, been there, done that, not where I want to go again. And you can recognize it faster because you're okay being alone.
Being alone.
The fear
Yes.
isn't keeping you holding on. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So that fear of being alone is often one of the number one reasons why people tend to go back to their ex.
Yeah.
The next one. It's the easiest and most simplest way to get over the hurt of the breakup.
Yeah.
We really
Yeah.
don't want to feel pain. No one really wants
No,
to
who
feel
wants
pain.
to feel pain?
But let's be
Yeah.
real. From pain comes growth.
Absolutely. I always say in the darkest moments, when you feel like there's nobody else, that's where a lot of your strength comes from, your
That's right.
confidence, your surety of who you are, all of those things.
That's right.
Happen in those moments, but it is scary. You know, a lot of times, like you said, it's the simplest and easiest way to
Simplest,
get
easy.
over it,
Yeah.
because it's sort of like, it's like almost like the devil, right? You already know what you're getting into, you know how to
Exactly.
deal with it.
Right. You know,
And,
we
you
may not
know-
have gotten over the situation that caused us to break up in the first place, but it's
Yeah.
just easier for us to get back and pound at each other with and about the situation
Yeah.
that it is to say, hey, you know what? I'm just not able to get over this. So let's just call it quits.
Yeah.
Right. So we take that easy way out rather than getting growth, getting healing. And I don't like to use the word healing, but in this case, it's a necessity, right? Heal from that. There's sometimes when it's necessary, healing from a situation,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And in those moments, you know, we just figure, hey, you know what? It hurts too much to be apart.
Yeah.
So I rather to be hurt with you than, you know, the situation that you hurt me, than to be hurt about the situation and to be hurt that we're not together.
Yeah.
So you know what? We're just going to get back together.
Yeah.
And we're going to fight about this for the next 2-3 years until we get it together.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And, you know, we just got to know when to call it quits at time.
Gotta let it go
Yeah.
sometimes.
Sometimes we just got to let
Yeah.
it go.
Yeah. Because sometimes
Let
it
it
does
go.
more damage staying than going. Right?
Exactly.
But that's a hard decision to make
It is a hard
sometimes.
decision to make, and how far is too far and when to
yeah.
quit.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
It is a hard decision.
It's true.
And then the next one I think segue and ties in really well as well. And that one is you've got all these feelings stored up and tied up for the person.
Yeah.
And now that you're apart, you just don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because you don't know what to do with those feelings, it goes right back to one of two. You get back together with the person, or you get back with option 2, new body, same spirit.
Yeah. 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 Because it's emotions run deep.
That's right.
They're complicated. They can be very complicated because they can be intertwined with your past, your upbringing, your confidence. It can be intertwined with so many things. So I think it's hard to decipher it, which is why it's so important to spend time alone.
That's right.
But feelings for the person, and letting those go and letting go of the dream. And we all have a vision of what things are. And then
right.
when you have those emotions tied in, they hurt, right?
Right.
Sometimes they can really hurt. So it
They
makes
really-
it
not
really
sometimes,
difficult.
it always
It
hurts.
always hurts. You're
So,
right. And sometimes
yeah.
it can take years.
It takes years.
Sometimes it can take years to get through those emotions and
Right.
you know, what has happened. And then you can feel, you know, even frustrated with yourself. We talked about that a little bit last time, right? Like, you know, you can be mad at yourself for what you did or didn't do,
That's
you know, and then that guilt is involved in all of that stuff, right?
Exactly. And then, you know, so again, that leads you right back to that old person, or you find someone that
Yeah.
reminds you a lot
Yeah.
of that ex. And then now they got to pay for all the trauma that you're carrying from that relationship because there's so much familiarity. I cannot get that word out today, right? So much of that word is in this person. So now it's like you're happy but upset with this person because you know realistically they're not the one.
Yeah.
But that's so many things is a reminder of what you're coming from, that they're now paying that price for it.
That is true.
Right?
It can be complicated.
So, my goodness. Very complicated.
It can be complicated.
Very
It can be complicated, but
very
you really can
complicated.
simplify it when you start to kind of dig into yourself.
And you have to. It's a constant work in progress.
Yeah.
Digging into yourself, figuring out what's ticking you, figuring out what's making you smile. You know, the more you get to learn and understand those things, the better you make your life, the more simply it is for you in your relationship and for the person coming in, because sometimes the person coming in don't even know, they don't know what's going on with you, but oftentimes they get ambushed because
that is true. That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
They're getting ambushed from prior experiences that they have not contributed to.
Yes.
But they now get ambushed with all that baggage, that knapsack that you're carrying.
Yes, I know.
And you're forgetting what's in that knapsack.
I know.
Right?
I know. Yeah.
Filled with all
this. It's a tough position to be in. It's a tough position to be in. And that's why you really have to be fair to not only yourself, but to the other person to do some of that work.
That's right. That's right.
You really have to.
And then the next one. This one is a difficult one. And I'm empathetic to anyone who's going through this situation. It could be because there are financial ties involved, or maybe even a child.
Whew. That makes it so much more complicated.
Makes it so tough.
It really does.
Because no one really wants to break up a family.
No.
And no one really wants to walk away knowing I'm going to struggle financially.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's not easy out there.
It's not. It's not.
It's not easy out there right now, especially.
It's not.
It never has been, but it's even now, it's more of a strain.
Exactly.
And it can create more ties for people to stay, or to go back to an ex because they realize it's not easy on my own.
Exactly.
I need that help. I need that other person that's right there in the home with me to help when I need to run to the store, and I don't have to worry about, I don't know, finding a babysitter for those moments, right? When you just need to be alone. So it's really complicated. And the finances, if nothing else, I mean, roof over your head, food on your table. All of those things are just your basics.
And even looking from a different angle, some people use that as the bait.
Yeah, I know.
Well, if we're not together, hey, I'm not going to help you financially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the more common one, if we're not together, you're not seeing the child.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But let's understand, there's a finance, totally separate aspect. There's the relationship, totally separate aspect.
Yeah.
There's the child, totally separate aspect.
Yeah.
So you can't use one to punish the other.
Exactly.
So you can't say, if this person is not getting back with you, I'm not going to aid you financially.
I know, or not going to be there.
Exactly.
For the child or whatever.
If you're not going to be with me, or if you're not going to give me finances, you're not going to see the child.
Yeah.
You cannot deprive the person the right from having that relationship, developing that bond with their child. Because whatever is supposed to come out, whatever is supposed to come off their relationship, the child has the right to form that as they go through their years. You can't make that decision or that determination for them to say, you're not having a relationship with your mother or father because we're not together, or they're not contributing financially. We have to think of it that's your anger. Do not transfer those anger to that child.
That's a relationship that is there, whether it's there or not, the finances.
And because they may not have been a good partner to you, may not mean they won't be a good parent to the child.
Absolutely.
And ultimately, we all want our kids to have good, solid parents in their life. So we don't want to knock that. We don't want to take it out on to say, hey, you know what, forget you're not doing your role. So,
safety is a whole other issue.
Exactly.
But we're talking about your run-of-the-mill sort of involvement in finances and using that as a reason.
Exactly.
Right?
So that finances and that whole child involvement, I'm very sensitive because that is a tough one.
It is.
It is a tough one.
Hard.
But at the same time, if that's what it is,
Yeah.
why you are staying in a unhealthy and a unhappy relationship,
Yeah.
then you really have to evaluate how
Yeah, because it could
can turn it
can create more damage in the
Exactly.
long term for everybody involved, right? Like more trauma and that sort of thing. So
Right.
it's a tough one.
So if you're going through that, feel free to leave us a comment. Anything that we've said that resonated well with you, leave a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are on, everything we've said so far. But I think this has got to be my favorite one.
Oh boy.
Why some people continue to going back to an ex syndrome.
Yeah.
This is something I thought about, and just from my observation,
Yeah.
is that you or even your ex are just haters.
Yeah. I know. Just,
Simply
you know what?
straight up
Go back to me
haters.
because you know what? You ain't going with anybody else.
Exactly.
So I'm just going to keep you.
Yeah, you don't want to see the person move on and be happy with someone else.
Yeah.
So you work your best magic to get the person back in your arms. And when
Yep.
they get back in your arms,
Yep.
you start the whole process of treating them like crap all over again.
And it's like that bait.
Yes.
You know, it's like
Yes.
they put out the hook, like
Yes.
if you're fishing,
Yes.
hook you in, reel you in, and then all of a sudden you're there flopping around,
Yeah.
needing water to survive.
Yes.
Needing water
Yes.
to survive because, they just wanted to have you, just
Yes.
to say they have you.
Exactly. So be very
Yeah.
careful of those ones who, you know what, they're just haters of your happiness. And
Yeah.
because they're haters of your happiness, they work all their best magic. Like we said last time, be careful of the red roses. It could be a red flag.
Yeah.
This is a clear case when they work their best charm to get you back.
Yeah.
And once they accomplish that task of having you back,
Yeah.
it's all hell breaking loose again.
I know. Gosh, we could almost do a whole thing on a hater.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if they can be
Sometimes the
very
hater is
deceiving.
right beside you.
Yeah, it could be very deceiving, and you won't really know,
You don't know.
what it looks like.
You don't,
But the
exactly.
proof is always in the pudding.
Exactly.
So I feel like if that maybe
That's
one
one
day.
in
What do you guys
itself.
think of that one?
What do you think? Should we do something strictly
hater.
on the hater?
Right? Like I feel like
Oftentimes the hater is right there holding
there.
your hand right beside you.
Right
and
there.
you just don't even know it.
yeah, I
right?
agree.
You just don't
I
know
agree.
it.
That's
so
a
be
big one.
careful of those haters who want you back just to make your life a living hell simply because
Yeah.
they know you can upgrade and they're going to feel like crap knowing that you held them back.
Yeah,
So I'm going to change.
yeah,
I'm going to do better. And the moment they give you that promise, then it lasts 6.5 weeks.
yeah,
And then you start seeing them going down like a bad crash
Yeah.
in the stock market.
Yeah.
When you see those things happening, just run. It's
Yeah.
not going to get any better.
Yeah.
It
They are
was
who
all
they
a
are.
game plan to get you back. And the moment they get you back, then
Yeah.
they're dipping out on you again.
yeah,
All right?
Yeah.
So that's what it is today. The reasons why people go back to an ex.
yeah.
And again, that ex could be going back to the same person over and over, or it could simply just be you meet a new person who is exactly like the person you are trying to avoid a relationship with. That is the two ways of going back to an ex. So again, being afraid to be alone. It's the easiest and simplest way to overcome the hurt from the breakup.
Yeah.
Feelings you may have for the person, and now you just don't know what to do with those feelings.
Yeah.
And again, I'm sensitive to this one, could be for financial or a child being involved. You know, when your family is at stake, you tend to be a little bit more reluctant.
Yeah. Yeah. You make different types of decisions for sure.
And next, you or your ex are just straight up hater of the other person's happiness.
Hater.
So you work your best magic to bring them back only to dish them the same bag of dirt.
Yeah. Sadly.
All right. So
Talk about it in the comments. Let's hear your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment. What do you think? Have you ever experienced the hater? You know, have you ever had to make those decisions for yourself
That's
about,
right.
you know, staying or going back to somebody when you knew deep down inside? So,
yeah, which one did
yeah.
you find yourself caught up in? Let us know in the comments.
Absolutely.
All right. Which one and how did you handle and overcome that on your own?
Yeah.
Keep it locked until next time. Hey, Once again, this is Cohen holding it down with you.
And Lisa.
Your diamond duo. Keep it locked.